Hello and welcome to the entry webinar for the 2019 Effie Awards United States competition. During this webinar, we'll touch on some Effie basics, then move on to judge advice on how to write a strong entry, and finally we'll give you some background on how you can further get involved this year. We'll kick it off with a quick intro to Effie. The Effie Awards were established in 1968 by the New York American Marketing Association, and it's now run as its own 501c3 nonprofit organization, Effie Worldwide. Effie has grown tremendously over the last 50 years and now features programs in over 50 countries worldwide. The Effie Index compiles data from Effie's worldwide partners to rank the most effective companies and brands. The finalists and winners in this year's index will be tallied and announced in the Global Index in early 2020, and you'll also have national rankings announced at this year's awards gala based on the 2019 finalists and winners. Now to take a quick look at the competition process. Here is a general outline of this year's timeline with deadlines running October and November. Judging goes from November through March, with winner notifications going out in early April, and this year's winners will be celebrated in May 2019. New this year, Effie Worldwide is pleased to introduce two national programs, Effie United States and Effie Canada, in place of the North American Effies. Effie Canada is run by our partner, the Institute for Communications Agencies. If you are looking to enter any work that ran in Canada, please visit effie.org/Canada. Within the U.S., this year we've introduced a 4-category limit within the U.S. program, while the shopper competition retains its 2-category max. In an effort to further focus the creative reel on showcasing the work, the creative reel's time limit has decreased to 3 minutes. We'll have more on that later. And finally, finalists and winners have the opportunity to have their case featured in Effie's case database. In addition to choosing to publish the written case as it was submitted or as an edited version, entrants can now choose to publish their case after 3 years, either as the case was submitted or as an edited version. Another exciting piece of information is that Effie is celebrating its 50th anniversary. Winners will be eligible for 4 special recognitions in honor of Effie's 50th. These special honors will be determined by the jury, and you can note your interest in being considered for these special honors as part of the entry process. Entry deadlines run October 11th through November 8th. Submissions for nonprofit organizations are eligible for 50% off entry fees, and new entrants discounts are also available. The Insight Guide, which provides feedback from the judges who score your case, can be purchased at time of entry, and those who purchase at time of entry will receive a $100 discount on that price. To go over eligibility, work must have run in the U.S. and the data presented must be isolated to the U.S. The eligibility period is September 2017 through August 2018. It's fine for work to begin running beforehand or continue running after, but any work presented must have run at some point during this time period, and no data past the end of the eligibility period can be included. That is a reason for disqualification. Please note that there are special circumstances for certain categories or situations which you can further review in the entry kit. Effie features a variety of categories for both product and service types and specialty categories focused on unique situations like small budgets or cases aimed at specific audiences. We recommend you tailor your entry to each category wherever relevant, as you are being evaluated on effectiveness within the context of your entered category. And again, you can enter an effort into a maximum of 4 categories in the main US program and 2 in Shopper. There are a few new and revised categories this year in both the Media Effies and the Shopper Marketing Effies, so we encourage you to take a look at those categories as well. If you have any category questions, we suggest reviewing the category definition and looking at past finalists and winners in the Effie case database. And please don't hesitate to reach out to Effie with your questions. A number of entry resources are available. The Effective Entry Guide is particularly helpful as it details advice directly from the jury regarding both overall advice and guidance on each scoring section. Now to go through writing an effective entry. It is much easier to write your way out of a win than to write your way into a win. What do we mean by that? You may have a really great case, but if the context isn't provided to understand why it is so strong, or it's so poorly written that judges are spending too much time trying to understand what exactly happened, you likely won't win. So it's important to really write a strong submission. Effie entries are reviewed through these 4 main scoring sections. The first 3 are weighted as 23.3% of the total score, and the results weighted as 30% of the total score. The entry form delineates these sections pretty clearly, but don't forget you are also telling a story and you want to link each section together. All scoring is anonymous and confidential, and Effie takes confidentiality very seriously. All judges sign confidentiality agreements. And in addition to scoring, judges will provide written feedback on each case, which is shared with entrants via the Insight Guide. So providing context will be a bit of a theme throughout this webinar. Before you even begin, think about your audience. They are your industry peers. Many of them have written entries before. You want to think about how it will be read. Judges in both rounds of judging are matched with categories that they don't work on. In round 1, they're moving around from category to category, maybe reading 8 to 12 cases in a session. It's important you give context so they understand your brand, category, business situation, and ensure your entry is clear and concise so that they can easily understand your story. During final round judging, the jury is reviewing all finalists within a category. Speak to the category as much as other finalists. It is fine to have some personality when telling your story, but it's not recommended to include a lot of industry jargon as judges may not know those terms. Finally, think through what would make you question a case. If you were a judge, what questions would you have? Make sure you address those questions within your submission. Now that we have some background, we'll take a look at the scoring system and go through each of these 4 scoring sections. So first up, section 1, the challenge, context, and objectives. This is all about the background, what your challenge was, what your business situation was, who your audience was, and the degree of challenge. This is where judges really get an understanding of your business situation. In this section, providing context is very important as judges likely have never worked in this category and they may not know if your objectives are significant. Explain the degree of difficulty of your challenge. Were there any barriers you were going to need to overcome in order to achieve your goals? Judges are also looking to see why your target was the right one for your challenge, what tools you set up to measure your success, and the business problem your effort was meant to address. Without the context provided in this section, they may incorrectly assume that a 1% lift in your category is incredibly easy when in fact that's not at all the case. So how do judges score the section? One thing that we discussed with judges is that results without context mean nothing. So as an example, if a bottled water company sold 50% more water in the month of September, that's great for sales, but was it really the marketing that led to this, or could it have just been because of a storm? Judges need this context to frame up what you are tasked with solving. Judges are reviewing the degree of difficulty your situation presented, and they are also looking to make sure your objectives make sense when looking at the challenge presented. Do not retrofit your objectives to match your results. This is one of the most common judge critiques that we see. So you'll see here a past judge quote, "The challenge section was weak. It weakened the entire entry because the context wasn't there to understand how big the idea was or how profound the results were." Moving on to the Insights and Strategic Idea section, this has been the weakest scoring section across all entries over the last 2 years. So we definitely suggest spending a little extra time on this section to make sure that your insights were really the insights that set up the case. Clearly explain how you arrived at your insight and why it is relevant to your marketing challenge. Strong insights typically lead to more success. So explain how you got there and why it is relevant to your audience and marketing challenge. Going to some judge comments on the insights. Judges are really looking for more detail on the insights. How did you arrive at them? How is your brand uniquely positioned to take advantage of that insight? Judges are evaluating how inventive and effective the idea is in meeting the strategic communications challenge. We asked for the big idea in one sentence, no exceptions there. The big idea is not your tagline, it's the core idea that drove your effort and led to your results. As one of our judges noted, the idea is the pivot which turns the smart analysis of the problem into a unique solution that no competitors could emulate. The Bring the Idea to Life section includes your response to question 3, the creative work, and the media addendum. Too often, entrants don't explain why they chose the channels that they did. Be clear about your communication strategy and how your insight led to those choices. Why are those channels appropriate for your audience and your strategy? Why'd you place priority on some channels over others? If you didn't choose certain channels that a judge may have expected you to, explain why you didn't choose those channels. One misconception is that judges aren't necessarily looking for you to do everything and anything. 2017 winners actually listed out approximately 10.4 communications touchpoints, and that has steadily gone down each year over the last 5 years. Entrants often become very concerned about the creative reel, but it's important to remember that the judges are only evaluating the creative work itself, not the production value of the reel. Additionally, the creative work and your responses to this question come up together for this section's entire score, which is 23.3% of the final score. It's important that you don't spend additional time in your reel retelling the same story that your judges just read. The judges are required to read your written case before watching the reel. So this is your place to really show your work and how you brought the idea to life. It's fine if you would like to include some minor setup and explain how the pieces work together, but the majority of that should go in your written case. Judges are often frustrated when the reel spends too much time on the setup and there isn't enough time to show examples of the work. It's important that you don't introduce something completely new that wasn't addressed in the written case, and similarly, if a creative element is discussed in your written submission, it should be shown as an example in the reel. Just a reminder on the reel, you cannot include any results on your creative reel, so make sure you are not showing the number of social media followers or likes. Don't indicate whether or not you beat out the #1 brand. That's all for your written case to tell. The focus here is simply showing on the creative work and how you brought the idea to life. Finally, the results, 30% of the total score. It's important to clearly refer to your objectives when providing your results. If you do have additional results that you'd like to share, you can share them, but make sure you've first addressed all of your objectives. Strong entries provide context about historical data, industry benchmarks, and your competitive situation. Here you want to prove that it was your work that led to your results. And again, judges are your peers. They may think about the different variables going on in the marketplace that may have led to your success. In this section, we encourage entrants to eliminate those variables that judges may think contributed. Some of our strongest entrants will call out those variables that a judge may think helped the result and eliminate them one by one. And if something did help your results, address it. Judges understand that there are other factors going on in the marketplace, and they value the honesty here to show that you aren't trying to hide something. So again, this is where you really need to tie everything together, prove that your work achieved success. And again, another reminder on context. Explain why the metrics you are presenting are important to the brand and the brand's business. Effie is open to any type of metric as long as it relates back to the stated objectives. Remember that judges are industry professionals. What would they expect to see as a metric of success for a similar campaign they were running? Question 4B asks about what else was going on in the marketplace. So please make sure you answer it. There are checkboxes to check off other factors that may have affected your results. So give credits to those and be honest about these factors. So going back to the scoring sections, it's important that you connect the story and link each section to the next. Tell a full story with a coherent message throughout. It's important that you make sure that the case doesn't sound like 4 different people wrote it and maybe another person produced the reel. Ensure your story is cohesive throughout. One top recommendation is to share your case with outside partners. Agency partners and clients may be able to provide more data to present a well-rounded case. And people who don't work on the brand may be able to help you understand what context is missing. Be concise and simple and clear. Think of your audience, going back to the slides we saw earlier. What are they looking for in a case study? What will stand out when they're reading 10 cases in a morning? Finally, getting involved, going beyond the entry process. Enter, you're well on your way to this. Then judge, learn about industry trends, what's going on outside the categories you work on day to day. Learn about what other marketers are doing to approach different business situations. And of course, you'll be able to learn about what it takes to write a strong entry. Referring to past judges within your company are a great resource as you work on your submissions this year. And finally, judging is a great way to network with your peers. Additional educational elements include the case database, the Effie blog, and more information on Effie's educational initiatives will be coming soon. Share. As a nonprofit, we rely on entrants' willingness to publish their written case studies so that we can use that content to provide learning. We are happy to share more information on confidentiality, but edited versions of your written cases can be provided with all confidential data redacted. Keep in mind the eligibility period ends August 2018 and awards won't be announced till May 2019. For many entrants, that delay helps with these concerns. And we also encourage you to share with us and connect on our social media channels. We're not only focused on today's marketers, but also our future marketing leaders. The Collegiate Effie competition gives students a chance to create comprehensive marketing communication solutions that address real-world challenges for real-world marketers. So we encourage you or your junior team members to apply to be an Effie judge, involve your clients as a sponsor. And if you have any interest in getting more involved in this program, please reach out to collegiate@effie.org. And that wraps it up. Best of luck in this year's competition. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. For entry questions for Effie US, contact entries@effie.org. And for the Shopper Marketing Program, shopper@effie.org. Thank you, and we look forward to seeing your work.